Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. For the Believe Entertainment Network at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia live on X Spaces for the fan feedback segment of every post-game show. That is today. We'll be doing that. Syracuse does what they are supposed to do in taking care of Colgate this past Friday. 66-24. Like I mentioned, I don't know how much we are going to learn from that game, but they did what they were supposed to do, and that's important. And also, we'll go over some of the good and some of the bad of that. And as we look forward to Clemson next Saturday. Is that a noon game? That was a noon game. We determined that already, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before we get to the montage, real quick, former Syracuse women's basketball player Tiana Manjakihia, she passed away from cancer that had come back. She played 4 years at Syracuse. I think in her last year or her sophomore year, she was diagnosed with cancer while playing, and ended up playing overseas for a bit. And at 30 years old, she unfortunately passed away because of reoccurring cancer. So it's awful. Too young for that. But she was a fighter, and to get through it first time the way she did and just battle health issues like that, that's to say a lot for someone that age. So it's too bad.
Well, to come back and make a career of it too, right? So I remember that she was thinking about going to the WNBA early when that came out, and then she was dealing with that during the whole COVID thing, and she ended up coming back and playing one more year with Syracuse, and like you said, had a career overseas, and she's still the all-time leading assists leader for Syracuse women's basketball. So she was missed.
With that, let's hear what Coach had to say following the game.
Very thankful I had the opportunity to coach a good football game tonight on a Friday night, especially on our campus. It was just tremendous. Our student section, they did an amazing job. Very thankful for just all the fans that were here. Also, I want to thank Coach Fitzpatrick and his staff for just preparing his team and them coming out and playing and competing all four quarters. I thought he did a really good job, and he was able to see that, as there's no quitting on his football team. And I think he'll turn that team around to be the same way he did at Cortland. He's a real fine head football coach. I actually consider him a friend, and I'm very thankful that I had a chance to compete against him.
And when you put Steve back in for that series, was that to send a message to your guys, or were you worried about the game getting away, or what at that point?
No, it was just something that was needed for our football team, for us to be able to continue to grow as a team and continue to push towards and continue to grow our culture.
By having him in, he would sort of enforce the expectations that sort of you had the rest of the game?
He's the leader of our football team, so anytime you want to make sure you're implementing something, you want to have the leader do it. He's the leader of our football team, so I felt it was best to have him in another drive.
Demetrius Samuel Jr. had his first collegiate catch today, first collegiate punt return, and first collegiate interception. Just what he means to this team and what your thoughts are coming off of this performance.
I think he'll continuing to grow every week and get better in all areas. He loves football. He's just going to keep growing, right? He's good. He's 17 years old. He should be a senior, and he's just constantly getting more and more comfortable in the game. He's getting more and more comfortable of our coaching style, of just coaching him and pushing him. And he's a good player, right? I just hope that he continues to get better every week.
And then with Ricky, comes out, throws a pick, sits back, lets Steve run the show for one more drive, and then comes back in and leads you to a 93-yard scoring drive. Can you talk about what you saw from Ricky in that moment and his ability to bounce back from a negative and turn into a positive?
Ricky's just a tough kid. We think he's tough. That's why we have him. That's why he's our backup quarterback. And if anything was to happen to Steve, we're confident that Ricky will go in and he'll be able to get the job done. Like, Ricky's a winner, right? And then the interception had nothing to do. I mean, of course he threw a pick. All right, yeah, it's the game. Things happen. But then it was Steve, go in. This is what I want done. We're going to go score right now with the ones. Then we're going to go score with the twos. And that's going to happen that way because you're a winner and you're a winner. And go show them what you guys can do. So they were both able to do that, and they're boys, right? They watch tape together every night, so it was good to be able to see that.
Fran, I know that Justice Ross Simmons came out of the game with an injury. Do you have any update on his health
He's good.
status?
It's his finger. He'll be straight. It was his finger.
Coach, you guys obviously were able to get in a lot of different guys on both sides of the ball tonight. Hart, Malachi Coleman, Luke Carney. Just what does it mean for you guys moving forward that you were able to get them some in-game experience?
It helps us because this is a long season and we're about to start conference. This is a tough conference, one of the tougher conferences in the country, so you got to make sure that everybody's ready. It was about us being able to go depth. It's about our team being able to click today on all cylinders. So when it's time to go out, we're about to go to a couple places where it's going to be 113, and that's just not 113 players. That's going to be 70 players and the other people that came with us, right? And we got to go in there and be ready to compete, ready to have fun, and very thankful, very happy that they got to get in tonight. It was especially good for the running backs, right? They're funny. Talik broke 2 real good runs. Then he just runs off the field. And I'm like, what the freak are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I got to let my boy eat too. I said, what? Like, that's your job, but that's the love that they have for each other, right? Most people wouldn't do that. They just want to stay in and go. And I'm happy that they got to get in. It shows us if those guys get hurt, and the older guys, we got young guys that can play all over the field, especially at wideout, right? We got a lot of wideouts, and those running backs are fast. I mean, those kids are good, so I'm thankful for them.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so as we mentioned, there wasn't a ton in the presser, okay? I mean, I don't know. I did my best finding some stuff. Justice Ross Simmons, the finger issue comes out. Hopefully that's not a big deal. Daryl Gill Jr. stepping up big time. Steve Angeli ties the record for most passing touchdowns in a game. He also ties the most with 5. And then he also ties with the most touchdowns in a game with Eric Dungy and Jim Brown with 6, I believe. So from the rushing and the 5 passing. So he's doing things now. We can sit here and we can say it's Colgate, right? And that's one of the positives. Syracuse, they showed us what we expect them to do against an FCS opponent. And they controlled the game from start to finish. That was kind of one of our points from the preview show. And they looked balanced. And, other than a couple of one miscue by Will Nixon putting the ball on the ground, the running backs had a day, as Coach mentioned. So it was promising. It was good to get those guys in to get some extra work and be able to do that in a game where you're absolutely controlling it. Like I mentioned, 5 guys got their first touchdown. Just going down the depth chart: Will Nixon, Luke Carney, Darian Williams, Jalen Hornsby, and Gabe Davis all got their first touchdowns as an Orangeman. And that's how these games should be. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was worried about getting bored. I was pretty attentive the first half, second half. I mean, in these massacres, there's just only so much that can hold my attention as I bounce around too much. Let's just put it that way. I bounce around too much. So just a good game. And like I said, we wanted to come out healthy. Got the Justice Ross Simmons issue that coaches is kind of saying was not a big deal. So Steve Angeli coming in after well, first of all, Joe, 2 things. Can getting backups reps. How many of these guys do you think are redshirting possibly this year? First of all, I mean, to get them a little bit here and a little bit there. We're going to head into ACC play. We'll probably never see a lot of these guys again for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, unless there's really, really, I mean, if we get ravaged by injuries, if there's a game where there's a blowout and he wants to get some people reps, which again, I just don't see a lot of those left in our future this year. And then I think the other thing would be if we make a bowl game and they still have games that they can, participate in. Now, some of them might not redshirt because based upon like special teams, right? But a lot of times you don't really see the guy on the kickoff team or the guy on the punt team or, stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, this was the game to get the guys out there. Obviously you want to go out there, you want to build some chemistry, some momentum, some confidence. I mean, this is what this type of game is supposed to be, get guys out there, get the older guys excited for the young guys that are going out scoring touchdowns and making plays. And that's what it was. I'm not going to look too much into the 24 points Colgate.
I agree.
Scored because again, when you look at the second half where they scored 21 of their 24 points, there was a lot of let's just say non-starters out there on defense, and to throw it out there too, pretty much anybody that was kind of beat up or still questionable, they didn't play. Right, they sat out. We saw Devin Grant still sat out, but I saw him go run down to the end zone when Demetrius Sanders and Brahim Long when they got their interceptions, right? And obviously, Yassine Willis, he sat as well. And Malachi James, I want to say, which I think might end up being a pretty bad injury from what we heard in the presser. So we don't know what his outcome is going to be. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's what the game that you want to kind of see. And like you said, sometimes there's the fans that are going to watch it and see the 38-3 at half and be like, okay, I'm good. And then there's, the other fans that they can sit there in the second half and watch a blowout and try to look out for those young names that, we have only heard about since when they just got recruited and committed. Right. So, but all in all, there's very few things to complain about after this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to get nitpicky, right. Some lapses with penalties again. I don't know how many there were. It's just, it was kind of early in the game when I noticed it. Not anything terrible, but just going into ACC play, if you want to get nitpicky about something, there's definitely some disciplinary issues and some personnel things that I think that are still hampering this team. And you're going to go in, like you called me after the Clemson game yesterday. And, a good back and forth there with Georgia Tech. And Clemson sits at 1-2. We're going to be playing them at home. Like you said, they're going to be ready. We're going to get their best. They're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. And we can't go into that type of environment and just fold because of the crowd noise and the atmosphere in general. And that type of stuff worries me. This is it. From here on out is going to be a freaking marathon. And, if we're making mistakes against Colgate and UConn, that's concerning, I guess. If I'm being, I don't even think it's nitpicky, to be honest with you. But if I'm being critical, that's the issue I see.
Yeah, and I still kind of question what the offense and defensive line is going to look like. I thought the offensive line kind of held through. Plus, I know that we were switching through it and cycling a lot of different linemen as well. But another thing you could probably nitpick is, the pressure from our defensive line. The 2 sacks. Figured there'd be more. So, that part of the game has kind of been underwhelming so far this year. But it was nice to see, Jamie Tremble, a couple of the real athletic guy. He's one of the guys that got the sack. And, this is his first year being there. They got Dwight Freeney on staff, and it's a you can tell they're using their athletes wherever they can to kind of give them, any type like leg up in a game. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the type of game that you want to have going into a Clemson. You're going to a type of environment.
Joe, hold on. Wiggle a wire or something. You just got really fuzzy. Try it out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fuzzy.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. We'll return to our program shortly.
This is the exact type of game that you want going into a week like this, going down to a team like at Clemson. We knew that they were going to have a tough first 3 games. They're 1-2, and like you said, they're not going to be, happy, obviously, backs against the wall. But, the first 3 games, there's been so many ups and downs, and I think that it's just one of those things where it's this feeling out process, trying to get better, trying to evolve, and you don't really know where you are as a team. Like at this point, you don't really know. We played Tennessee even for the past, the last 3 quarters against them, and they lost yesterday against Georgia, and again, it's they should have won that game. So again, we know that Tennessee is not a pretender. Connecticut, like I said, we snuck out that one. Maybe we overlooked them, maybe we didn't. Who knows? And we did what we needed to do. So we're right where we were. We're where most people thought we were going to be going into Game 4. We haven't had an ACC game yet, so realistically, I mean, we're 2-1 where we thought we were going to be 2-1, and this is really where the season begins. Right? Season begins next week. We only have one other non-conference game. That's against Notre Dame. So yeah, a lot of times you think what these teams are going to be and who's going to be tough and everything like that, and you really just start figuring it out as the season goes by. So next week's going to be interesting because I don't know how good or bad Clemson is, and I still don't know where we land there. So ought to be interesting, but again, this is exactly the type of game that you want to see going into a game like that with, everybody kind of on a high. When you're on a football team, you work so hard, and yes, you're playing against an FCS team that you're expected to beat like this. But again, this is a fun game for these kids and for a team, and hopefully it just helps them come together. But also maybe it gives some of the young guys confidence to step up. Step up in practice and show that maybe they are willing to be, well, not willing, but able to help. Yeah. Right? So we shall see.
You mentioned yesterday about, the gauge for Tennessee was going to be that game against Georgia. And yeah, that's a game they should have won in regulation. A very badly kicked field goal attempt. They should have won. So, yeah, I mean, they're legit, and, it's not like we really had a great showing there, but with that said, I mean, you look at it, it could have been worse. UConn, they lost against Delaware. I don't know what the hell Delaware is doing these days, but they lost nonetheless. They almost beat us. So, and the other thing too, you look through the ACC yesterday and you've got, Old Dominion would either whoop our ass, or I'm extremely disappointed that we're not playing Virginia Tech this year.
Yeah, I'd say probably the. Brent Pry got fired today.
The 0-3 Hokies, golly, man, just got handled by ODU. Like, it was 21 on the board before you could blink.
Yeah, more than that. It was 28-0 at halftime. Yeah, like I said, it's bad enough to get the head coach fired. Brent Pry got fired.
He did get fired.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, they started 0-3.
It was a team that had they had some expectations this year, right? So
really.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, they had a manageable schedule with Kyron Jones and some other players. It seemed like Brent Pry had them going in the right direction, but yet it just hasn't equated to the wins.
I mean, they look awful. So
that's what happens when you lose to the Monarchs.
I mean, maybe don't underestimate the Monarchs. I don't know.
We'll see.
They played well last night. Looked like they were playing their FCS school.
Yeah, right. I think NC State, they got a win on Thursday. They're 3-0. So just like in NC State fashion, whenever there's no expectations, then they usually have a pretty good season. But Miami, I think, is a team that maybe is better than what we thought would have been in the beginning of the year. I think they handled South Florida.
Yeah.
Obviously, Georgia Tech we knew was going to be tough, but they're 3-0. SMU struggled against Missouri State. Pittsburgh blew it in the backyard brawl. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, but that was a close game, though. But, yeah, they blew it.
Yeah, they let West Virginia come back down 2 scores. So Duke lost to Tulane.
Yeah,
Boston College lost to Stanford. And
yeah, I don't know if what the hell Tulane's 3-0. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a good thing or what. I don't know what kind of gauge that it's going to give me. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, my only thing is with that is that Darian Mensah, the quarterback for Duke, they came over for $4 million this year, either $4 or $5 million. He transferred from Tulane, so
oof,
that was him going back to his former school on the road.
Well, he's got that money. He probably doesn't give a crap.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, it's that time. We ask for your thoughts. You leave them. We talk about them here. Let's see what I got. I'll do Twitter, and Joe's going to hit up the Facebook. So I've only got 13. I've only got 13, so people were pumped. At Theo Cuse, the offensive output was what I hoped for. Thank goodness they got Angeli. Guessing Fran left him in for much of the third quarter because he needed to see more. Defense? Some great talent, but let's just say the offense will need to keep them in games going forward. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with it. It's just like I said, though. It's so hard to determine and get a good gauge on what exactly the defense looks like. I mean, UConn's UConn, but they had like 7 stops in a row. You know what I mean? That's pretty good.
Right.
So, but moving forward, when you get an ACC play, Joe, it's somewhere, somehow, there's going to have to be more cohesion, and consistency just throughout the team in general. And pressure on the quarterback, for crying out loud.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, as far as defensive-wise goes, he's kind of think they're still in the feeling out, trying to replace, Fadil Diggs and Marlo Wax and Justin Barron, Elijah Clark, Murad Watson, who is a freshman All-American last year that transferred to Texas. Last year was a more senior-laden, more experienced team with guys that were, I don't want to say better leaders, but they were just they were already leaders, right? They had already learned the leadership. They were already leaders on the team. It made it easier to follow. But we have to remember, too, our defense wasn't world beaters last year. Last year we were also complaining about, Sands, Fadil Diggs. It was tough to get pressure on the quarterback. And I think that, obviously as the year goes on and you win games and your offense is scoring points, and it becomes a little bit easier to have those plays where you can come out and you can make plays. You can force turnovers and have big plays because, the other team's got to score with you. So we have to remember, last year, our defense wasn't world beaters even with those players. So, who knows if we replaced all of them We do have young talent again, but I think that we're still going to have the same struggles as last year goes, and I think that's kind of probably why they're prepping Angeli and we're throwing so much, because our offense has probably got to be a little bit more like last year's offense to be able to possibly win some of these games. So yeah, I would 100% agree.
So far, Angeli is putting up the numbers. Like he's on pace to put up a pretty good year. So I mean, it stands.
Yes.
At Joe Catskill, Cuse did what they were supposed to do, win big, loved the offensive confidence, but I'm concerned with the defense's ability to get stops. Go Orange. Again, just to reiterate. At Cuse Alum 44, defense still can't get pressure on the QB, particularly the D-line, has no guy this year. Did not proofread these, I'm just going in order.
Yeah.
Last year they had Diggs to bail them out and get sacks. They don't have it. They don't have that it factor on the D line, and it may hurt them down the road. No edge in anyone getting home. 4-man rush. Puke face. He doesn't like it. Dude, here's another one. At No Blanchard 44, defense is still a problem. Offense did well. Hopefully Steve has confidence now, and we can come back from Death Valley 3-1. Here's the thing about the defense: like if you're gonna do something spectacular, the game to do it was against Colgate. So if everybody's seeing the same thing, that's concerning. So at Matt Sherman 52 did what they were supposed to do. No sprints after the game tonight. Got to get healthy very quickly. Yeah, got to get healthy, got to stay healthy. And that was just the big thing with the UConn game. You don't want those little, FCS schools taking your guys out when you're beating them handily,
right?
And having some kind of serious injury or something like that. But yeah, we got to get the guys back. That I think guys are still sitting or sat because they coach knew that they weren't desperately needed. Like, hey, maybe just sit out another week, get some rest. I'm not going to put you in a bad spot.
Right.
And maybe for a lot of those cases, Colgate came at the perfect time. Right before ACC play, you're going to get a few weeks off. Some guys a few, some guys a couple. So they're going to need it. Do what?
I said, yeah, I agree.
At T Fry Guy, running back Hill had some nice. Running back Hill had some nice runs. The future is bright. At Cuse Waterboy 2, Daryl Gill and Steve Angeli developed quite the connection tonight. I know it's just Colgate, but coming out and just imposing your will on someone was a nice turnaround after the UConn game. Got to go down to Clemson, play our best football, and pull off the upset. How about that? A couple of those grabs Gill had, but that first one for the touchdown, where he just went up and just straight took it from the DB, man. I mean, that is, that's talent. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you're playing to pull off a catch like that. But he had a hell of a game for sure.
Pretty sure that was the top SportsCenter top one, our number one play of the day.
Was it really?
Pretty sure.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and I mean, and then to be honest with you, there was I thought a lot of good catches, not only by some of our young guys, but also, got to give Colgate some credit. Some of those catches that big number 0 Reed Swanson had. He had 7 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's big. He's a big dude. He's like 6'6".
Oh yeah, something like that. And he made some great plays. Also, Trayvon Saunders was as good as advertised. 11 catches for 105 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but still, he made some great plays. So, we looked at his stats. I didn't understand or realize that he was already an FCS All-American, and that he actually, they said it during the broadcast that he turned down money to stay with Colgate and see his senior year through. So he definitely is a player that he could have transferred to a bigger Division I school, followed the money. But obviously, maybe he doesn't get this amount of attention. So if he's going to be getting 10 plus catches a game, whether it's Colgate or not, the NFL is going to find him. And to me, he looks like a slot receiver in the NFL to me.
And Darwish ONC. I wonder if they played this game first, if they may have fared a little better against Tennessee, aka the Boeheim early cupcake approach. You guys mentioned maybe playing a tough game early exposes flaws that can be fixed. However, I doubt much can be changed in 2 weeks in football. I mean, you could look at it both ways, man. You know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of indifferent to it. I do think it's good to test early, but what did we really learn? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what did we really learn by playing Tennessee the first game of the season? And being that's what happened, you got to wonder, okay, what if we just played Tennessee?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to really be a big difference when you're playing a UConn, a Colgate, and then you're throwing a Tennessee in the mix that looks like a playoff team right now.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at, right? I think that it does. You don't learn a lot about what the end product's going to be, but I think what it does do is that it sets the table for the whole season. No matter how good you think you are coming out of summer camp, fall camp, you go out there and you play a Tennessee, and again, you're playing against SEC 5-star last year, a playoff team. So I mean, you're playing one of the better teams. So you're really, what you're doing is you're learning that this is the type of teams that you're going to have to beat if you want to actually compete for an ACC championship or an actual college playoff berth, right? And also we're playing 3 other teams plus a Miami this year on the road that made the playoff last year. So it's also it's not a situation where, that's the only team we're playing and then we're good. We got to play 3 or 4 teams that are going to be, just as good, if not better than Tennessee. So I think that helps. As far as football, a lot can actually change in 2 weeks of football. There's some key injuries that could happen that could completely just ruin the trajectory of your team. There's the going through tape, figuring out what combinations work, what's going to work. And you can't force, a circle into a square. You're learning your team as coaches. And at the end of the day, if there's certain things that aren't going to be, that we just can't do, or we can't go certain personnel, then we got to, as coaches and the coaching staff, we have to make those changes to make sure that we make the right calls to make sure that our players are successful on the field. So there's a lot that can change.
Yeah, there is. There's enough that can change that could make a huge difference for sure. Tim Abbott 44, it was Colgate, good game. Let's just call this gentleman Brendan. I had to keep open the roster to know who was who, as well played so many players. Okay. Nice to see a lot of young guys get some playing time. Yeah, definitely. And that's what we hoped for coming into a game like that, is that you were going to be able to get some burn from guys that might not see the field a lot this year. So,
yeah.
You got anything on Facebook, Joe?
Yeah, it gets that's part of those type of games like Colgate. That's where you hope you want to get to, because in one aspect of it, could it get too boring and someone might not want to watch it? Yes, but like we know, and like what you talk about all the time, you don't pay attention too much to the recruiting aspect of the players, because once I'll remember their name basically when they get on the field. And sometimes when we talk about a recruiting class, we bring up these players, but then they're easily forgotten as they redshirt and don't play, and they go. And then next thing you know, they're a junior, or they're getting in games like this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's that guy from that recruiting class that was supposed to be pretty good, right? So it does get some excitement for the future. But to anybody's point, like, just because you're here today, don't mean you're going to be here tomorrow. So
yeah, I mean, nothing's guaranteed on a roster anymore. That's for sure.
Right.
So. I mean, you could say that makes it exciting, maybe, and to some extent, maybe, but not when your team's the one that's kind of looking different every year.
Right.
Go ahead.
So we got 4, which I knew that they were going to be a little.
All 4.
Yeah, all 4. So we'll start with some of the smaller comments. Phil, like that coach put starters back in. It didn't look the way he wanted, so the starters went back in. So I guess I'm assuming that that's a comment towards the when they put in Ricky Collins and they didn't score, and then Colgate turned around and scored. So you put Angeli back in for one more drive, and they went down and scored. So I'm assuming that that's what that comment's about. Jim, they did what they were supposed to do, win and win big. Lots of mistakes, obvious room for improvement. Oh, and no injuries. So I think that we're all kind of right there with that. Top fan Dom. That I think Angeli flipped the switch. I don't know how we gave up so many points to Colgate unless they just went basic vanilla with the second and third team out there. I still feel like there is a lot to do with tackling and linebackers and coverage. On to Clemson, and I'm glad this game is on ABC or ESPN because I'll be in Florida visiting family. Okay, yeah, I think that that's part of it. Part of the defense and why we gave up so many points. I think we kind of hit up on that already. And then top fan, Andy, said, I saw it in parts of Tennessee and parts of UConn and all of Colgate. Mark my words, Angeli is going to be really good. Kid just needs to add a little bit more weight and use his legs a bit more. Love what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good. I thought he looked good yesterday, for sure. Again, it's hard to tell. You get against a Clemson, and everybody's going to know that it's not a tall order to get to the quarterback. Right. I just am worried about the amount of pressure that Steve Angeli is going to have to face, going forward, and I just hope that he can remain healthy. He's just, to his point, he's a little smaller, but he's also, he's not like an outside the pocket kind of guy. So,
right.
You just don't want the dude to get pummeled. We kind of already saw it once, against Tennessee, and so
he got blindsided, hit like 2 or 3 times against
UConn. Yeah, he did.
So we've seen it once. So, and that's why we really can't judge it because it is, again, it's UConn, right? Or sorry, it's Colgate. So if it didn't happen, then I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen once we get into play, right? So
right, Colgate was the only team not to get to Steve Angeli so far. So
right.
At DBone75, good win. Tackling is still an issue. I know most are going to complain about the defense. Is it an issue? Yes. I feel that this young team still needs time to grow. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, there's really, you have just a couple days to grow. And they got an extra day to prepare for Clemson, which is good. But at the end of the day, they've got a lot of work to do. And you know what? Go in, see if we can pull off an upset, and go from there. I think Clemson's still a good team, but it's not the team of a few years ago. But they're still a good team. And their schedule so far hasn't been super easy either. So,
right. They haven't had a chance to have one of these Colgate games where they can sit out some guys. I mean, I know they were down 3 starters yesterday, and who knows if they lost more because that was a hard fought game.
Right.
I don't know if Georgia Tech's underrated or whatever, but we played against Haynes King and Jamal Haynes and those guys the last couple of years, and that's a tough football team. That's a tough game regardless. It's going to be physical. It's going to be dragged out, and that's not one where you're gonna be leaving that game feeling a little roughed up. So we shall see. But at the end of the day, too, we're still status quo, right? I mean, I know when me, you and Tyler had that preview episode, I think we all kind of talked ourselves into possibly a Tennessee might be okay. They might, overlook us. We don't know how good this Joey Aguilar kid is, everything like that. Well, I mean, from everything that I've seen so far, this Aguilar kid looks better than Nico, the one that transferred out. And, we brought up Brent Pry being fired from Virginia Tech. Well, Nico, his team, where he went to UCLA, they're 0-3, and his coach, Deshaun Foster, just got fired as well. So, yeah, I think that Tennessee is probably a better team with Joey Aguilar than they would have been Nico anyway. And I think that we've kind of figured that out through the first 3 weeks. So, yeah. But I don't think Clemson or Tennessee, for the most of us, I think we all kind of thought that those were going to be losses, right? So, like you said, we go out there, put 1 foot forward. I think that we think that Clemson is going to be in a better situation. Their backs are against the wall. It's going to be a tough environment. But also, too, if you can get if you can hit some plays early and get some confidence, then it might be a situation where, the fans might get a little tired of, how those fans go. The fans that expect better
don't show up.
I'm not talking about not showing up, but I mean, I can see them. Now, I don't want to maybe say booing, but being audibly and visibly upset at what's going on if, Syracuse can go in there and kind of jump on them like Troy did. So there are things that I think that we can do maybe early to maybe kind of make it a little bit easier for us to handle the crowd, maybe take the crowd out of it early because how frustrated they are with this team. But again, Clemson had high expectations and high hopes coming into this year. And I think it wasn't even ACC championship game as much as it was, college football playoffs and possibly a championship or a championship game. So we're obviously going to get their best.
Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be anything over here.
I think Clemson's just built to give their best on the regular. But yeah, I mean, they're going to come in with a little extra because they're looking at Syracuse, knowing we got struggles, and they're going to come in and, the only thing we could hope for is maybe we're overlooked a little bit because of just, history.
I mean, well, and that's the other thing, right? Because for a little while there was a little stigma that it was like, why does Clemson have such a tough time with Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
And I know this was pre-Fran Brown, but if Dino can give him a tough time, I feel like Fran can too. So, yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the last couple of games that we've played in these series. So yeah, never know, bro. And yes, to Matt Sherman's question in the spaces, Steve Angeli currently right now by 2 yards is the nation's leading passer.
Oh, nice. I didn't see that. I didn't see any messages in the spaces. But yeah, no. Tyler texted too. He said he thinks Tennessee's a Final Four team this year. So there's that.
No, they should have had the game yesterday. So
yeah, absolutely. So okay,
and that's a positive. Playing Georgia that good too, because again, we didn't know, right? We played Tennessee even for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters, we played Tennessee even, and it was like, okay, well, maybe hopefully we get better, and then hopefully we figure out, and hopefully Tennessee's actually a good team, so we can turn around and say, okay, like we actually did play a football or a college football playoff team, and yesterday they definitely proved it.
All right, one more, and we'll wrap this thing up at TCon Bird app. Some drop passes kept offense from putting up even more obscene numbers, but defense is a true concern. So. Well, we're gonna find out. We're about to find out what Syracuse is made of, very quickly. So, and I mean, you were kind of big on Duke, and I mean, maybe we steal the Duke game.
And that's what was my point in talking about Clemson was like, no matter what happens. I mean, even if we lose at Clemson, I still think that a majority of us thought we were going to be 2-2, and we're not at the point where we're at those, those toss-up games yet, right? But seeing how BC played yesterday against Stanford, and how Pitt has been looking good, but West Virginia had a really bad loss, and then they turned around and came back on Pitt. North Carolina, Duke, both. I mean, Mensa looks great at Duke, but it doesn't look like their defense can stop anybody. And their head coach is a defensive coach, so you wonder if they figure that out. But yeah, I mean, when you look at Pitt, Duke, BC, North Carolina, when you look at the rest of those home games, those are all probably. I mean, I look at it like I thought that they were all going to be a little bit better than what they look like so far. So, those games, especially at home, look a little bit more favorable. The chances of us possibly being able to run the table at home and get those 6 wins, which is what we talked about again, that was one of the questions. I think buy or sell or whatever that was in our first episode with Tyler. So,
what was it?
We shall see.
What was it?
I think the question was, or something about, do we go undefeated at home to go to 6-6 and make? And I think we all said no. I thought we all said that they might, if they were going to get a bowl, they might pull one out and then probably lose one at home. But those home games look a little bit better today than they did when we did the preview.
Yeah. Well, we'll just take it week by week and go from there because it's so crazy. Do what?
I said we're going to have to for sure.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for tuning into the spaces. Those of you that did, appreciate all of you for listening. If you still are, you made it to the end. Good job. We'll see you Tuesday to talk about Clemson. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.